We're going? Hi. You hold the camera quite low there, but that's okay. Do whatever you want. Okay. Hi, I'm Stefan. I'm going to show you some bits and pieces about the camera. If you come around here, Nathaniel, the first thing you would be doing, I won't do this now because it'll kill the sound, but is to put the battery in. And I'll put some light into here. And the battery goes, it goes in up first, it's up and then down, and it clicks in and you feel it. Now this might be real basic, but it's really good to just cover all the bases. I would just want to say that this is a pan. Right. So there's Melody and there's Nathaniel. So, but this is a pan, okay? And this is a tilt, okay? Just real basic, important to know for those who aren't used to it. Thanks, Esther. Just because the director will say, might be saying, it's got a shot of Melody here, and let's say I was a little bit too tight. Yeah, you can cut to Melody shot, and the director might say, can you tilt up? So just going like that. So tilt, pan. Yeah. What else? Yeah. So this is your iris. Now, Esther, if you cut to my shot, you show what the effect is happening when I close and open. That's opening the iris. And now cut to my finger again. Now I'm going to close it, and now cut to the shot again. So that's closed. Open. That's what it's doing. It's just like the pupil in one's eye. It works exactly the same as the pupil. You can cut back to Nathaniel's camera. You want to close it when things are too bright, and you want to open it when things are too dark. Same thing as what your pupil does, dilates, etc.
And I guess what would I say? What instructions would the...
Okay, right. So it might be a new thing, but if we can get into the habit of saying if a shot is too overexposed, and I'm going to give you an example of an overexposed shot right now. You can cut to Melody. That there is, it's not incredibly overexposed because we don't have enough heaps of light, but if you have a look at my screen, so too many zebras on Melody's face there, and the director will be able to tell, and the director will say that is too hot. Yeah. That is too hot, meaning it's too overexposed. That's a new terminology that we're going to start saying. Alternatively, I could be like this, where you can see no zebras at all, and it's looking pretty dark on my viewfinder, and it will be dark for the director, and the director will say you're too under, or they'll to elaborate to you're too underexposed. Yeah. Can you open up your iris?
Yeah. So even here, this is a good example. That's overexposed with Stefan when I'm filming him, and that's underexposed. You start to get a feel for it.
Let's come back to this because we're on this topic. To know what is the correct exposure, there are these exposure assist things, which are called zebras. Only you can see them, the director can't see them. What the idea is that you just want to have them like they're almost disappearing. So I'm just gently rolling that so that they've disappeared there. Okay, so go a bit wider to include both fingers. Yep, so they've disappeared, and now you just have them just appearing. That is the correct exposure. That is the correct exposure. Cut to my camera, Esther. Yeah. So Melody is not lit correctly in the space that she's in because we've just got one light, but that is the correct exposure technically. A term that I tell, when I'm training camera operators, I say trust your zebras, because sometimes viewfinders' brightness could be all the way up or down or whatever. Trust your zebras. We have them set at 70%, which is actually the industry standard. Yeah. This one here is something I don't normally use myself. If you want to use it, you can. It's the zoom. The reason I don't use it is because I have my hand through here if I was handheld. Okay, so there's the zoom rocker, and so what I'm going to do is gently zoom, and you can cut to my shot, Esther, as I gently zoom in. Yep. Now I'm going to gently zoom out, and you can cut to Nathaniel's shot, and it's pressure sensitive. So the harder I press, the faster it goes. So I'm pressing hard, and I'm pressing hard, hard. Harder you press, the faster it zooms.
And as well, we've got the zoom here.
Of course, we've got one of these. We've only got one, and if you're lucky enough to have it on your camera, it plugs into this.
So we're just focusing on zoom right now. That's the topic we're focusing on.
Yep. So this remote control plugs into, it says remote,
Yeah.
and it'll be covered up. So you uncover it, plug it in, and now I have control over the zoom. So I can go zoom it in. Also pressure sensitive. The harder I press, the faster it zooms. So you can cut. Yep, there we go. Very good, Esther. Pressure sensitive. In here, you can change it so it's less sensitive to middle or slow. And I could do a slowly zoom in. That's really slow. Look how slow that is.
That's good.
Okay, so that's the remote control zoom. There's another zoom control here. I think this is actually quite good too.
Right on the very top. Yeah,
now I use this quite a lot if I'm handheld on the stage. Can you see this button here, Nathaniel?
Yeah.
You need to put it on the middle position, which is variable. I like it on that so that I can do, let's say I've just done a tight shot on a muso, and then they cut away from me, and I'll go boom like that, and all of a sudden I've got a totally different shot. So yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
So if I'm hand holding the camera down here on the drums or something, I can really quickly suddenly change the shot, wide, zoom.
Yeah.
Focal length is the proper term. Okay, the third ring is focus. Now, a lot of you will probably like to have it on auto, which is totally cool. And auto, the camera does the focusing. I personally like to have it on manual because sometimes.
Close up with that,
So there's that button. It's very important because if you jump on a camera that I've been on, it's going to be on manual, and if you don't like manual, you want to know where that is because that's where it is. You'll be in the dark. So
I would say as well for camera 3, it's really important to learn your manual focus when you're filming audience shots. But that will as you grow on the cameras. Yeah.
Yeah, because things can get in the way. You see, like if you're doing an audience shot and you want to focus on this person and this person's here, the camera doesn't know what you want to focus on.
But if I go under manual focus, now what I can do is, hang on, focus between the two.
But he's focusing between the two manually. I think I'm going to talk about white balance briefly because it is important for cameras 4 and 3. When you're setting up the camera, you want to make sure it is on A for the worship. At the beginning of the service, put it on A because Stefan Lowe, has set it to a tungsten, something like 3,100 Kelvin. That is for the lighting of the stage.
Explain what that is. What's Kelvin?
Kelvin is a temperature scale to do with colour. The lower the number coincides with more tungsten, warm coloured lighting, like a tungsten light bulb or the spotlights we have here. When you go up the scale to 6,000 Kelvin, that would be outside. That's daylight outside. And then, you can look it up on the internet. There's so much to talk about in that, so I'll just leave it at that. Yeah. So let's say the worship is over, and now this is important for cameras 3 and 4, the 2 cameras that are up the front.
And we'll be getting audience shots.
They'll be getting audience shots. So what I've learnt recently is to turn my settings of the white balance to turn them off, and to actually let the camera work out the colours, because all these, have a look at the fluoros, all these fluoros suddenly get turned on, and they're mixing with the tungsten, the orangey lights of the sage. Yeah. And so it's quite complicated. You know, it's a bit time consuming to get a white balance. So the fastest way is to actually just press this white balance button and come around to my screen. So you see it currently, that's what it was on, but so that means that's my setting. But when I press the white balance, it disappears, and that now is automatic white balance. How can I prove it?
That's all right, we believe you.
Okay, believe me, it's now automatic when that disappears. Really cool for audience shots. Gain.
Yeah, gain's really important.
Okay, sometimes for shooting the worship, you're in a dark spot, or you're trying to get someone in the crowd or a dark area of the crowd. This gain, we've got a gain switch at L for low, medium and high. So at 3 positions, low, medium, high. And if you come around and look at my screen, so that we can see the number 3 decibels is the low setting, and when I switch it to medium, it goes to 9 decibels, and it's going to slowly get brighter, and 18 decibels is going to get even brighter. So that's 18 decibels. See the black, if you see the blacks there behind melody, it's a bit grainy. If I flick it back to 3, the low setting, and then open my iris, look how much cleaner that is. That's much cleaner. So the idea is if we can keep it on that low setting.
Especially for the preaching.
Absolutely for the preaching, because that's going to be a clean, crisp image. We only want to use that gain when we have to, when we haven't got when we've opened the iris all the way up and we just haven't got enough light, then we go to the gain. We go to the middle. If there's still not enough, go to the high. In extreme circumstances, go to the high setting.
So if we're doing things right,
cut to 3.
Cameras 1 and cameras 2 will have gain on low when we're filming Catherine. You'll hear me. They will have that. So low gain for cameras 1 and cameras 2 while filming Catherine or any other preacher. When the camera 4 and camera 3 that are filming the audience can move their gain around.
Yes.
So maybe you want to explain that, why that is.
Because they don't have powerful 1,000 watt lights hitting them.
The audience, yeah.
The audience doesn't have powerful 1,000 watt lights. They just have the fluoros hitting them. Yeah. And we're experimenting with the fluoros, like when it's not a big crowd, I'm experimenting with not putting all the fluoros on because it lights up the empty seats.
Yeah.
So when they're not all on, you are having to sometimes go to 18 dB gain when you're zoomed up. So yeah.
And one thing I forgot to say,
go to 3.
I'll just speak to the mic. One thing I forgot to say for the video about the mixing is if you're on mixing and cutting, always check that camera 1 and camera 2 are on low gain at the start of the preaching. Just say, are your cameras on low gain? That's really important.
Yep, very true. Okay. If there's anything you want to change, like if the viewfinder looks different and not the way you like it, hit this menu button, and this dial here, you can scroll through the dial. The first page has got a lot of stuff. Probably nothing that you would need.
Probably not super.
No, but I tell you what, this one. 1, 2, 3, fourth page is handy because I know I turn things off that a lot of guys don't, that like them on, and that is one of them is the marker. And so I've just turned the markers on, where it's got the safety, the border, and the center marker.
Do you turn those off though?
I like them off because
for most people that's better with them on. So good point.
Yeah, and so if you've got it, jumped onto a camera that I've been on and you really want it, that's how to find it. And I think we've covered it.
that's it. Did you want to do just your stuff with framing?
Yes. Thanks. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So Esther, we're going to talk about framing. So this is, we're using Melody as our wonderful model. This is a long shot. If you cut to my camera, Esther, this is a long shot. A long shot has a full human body. How else do I explain it? That's it. Full human body is a long shot. What's the next shot? A mid shot. A mid shot would be waist, sort of, waist there. And this would be the kind of shot that you would use for the preaching, for Catherine. A mid shot is a bit tighter sometimes, maybe.
You can push it a little bit tighter, so push in a little bit more. Yeah, so that's it.
Yeah, it's a bit more flattering there. That's a mid shot. If you look online, you'll see these terminologies can vary depending on who you listen to.
But this is what we call them.
So listen to me. This is a MCU, medium close-up. The lines are making me confused. That's why I don't like them. Okay, don't worry. So that's an MCU. And that's a very, very typical television shot. You see it for newsreaders and stuff like that. Do we use it much? Sometimes.
For camera 3 and the worship and stuff.
Yeah,
similar.
for the worship, we use it a bit. This is a close-up. This is a close-up on Melody. Now, my camera at the moment is lower than Melody's eyes. I normally would have the camera at eye level, or I'm looking up at Melody, which is not flattering. But anyway, doesn't matter. That's a close-up, which is CU. That's the acronym, and this is an extreme XCU, extreme close-up.
All girls love.
Where you don't want to cut off the chin, but you've got the eyes like that. That's an extreme close-up. I think we've covered it now.
Great. That's most of the things. If you have any other questions, let us know, and we'll learn. We'll teach on the job as well. So there's some pretty major things. If you feel that's a bit overwhelming, you can watch it over and over again, and also pick it up while you're with us. So just a good way to overcap. All right. Thanks, Esther. Oh, we're still live.
We're still live, we're still live, until she hits the button.